Fox Sports Radio.
They are in that fraternity.
Well, I think the SEC the media loves the SEC.
Yeah.
I mean, but we were talking about strength of schedule just a moment ago. I mean, go ahead and see Florida. Normally, you lose to a team like Ole Miss at home. That would really hurt you in any other conference in the BCS, but it didn't. They obviously won the national championship, even though they had one loss.
Right.
The Third Shift on Fox.
I feel bad, though, for the Big 12 because obviously that was the conference this year.
Sure.
And to see teams like Oklahoma, scoring 66 points 4 games in a row, basically averaging that, and to go ahead and see them implode, though, in the bowl games, Oklahoma State losing, Texas Tech losing, and
terrible.
Oklahoma losing, and Texas barely,
That was a low-scoring game with Texas.
It was.
Barely a squeaker against Ohio State. I didn't actually watch most of that game. I was actually wandering around doing a lot of errands, but I always saw it on TVs as I was going through different, shopping places. And I saw when Ohio State went ahead and scored with 2 minutes left, and I'm thinking, well, that must be it. And I didn't actually know that Texas had won that game until later that night when I looked on Yahoo. So, but, you got to feel bad for Big 12 when they were really the great conference this year for them to implode there in the bowl games.
We are live
from those AutoZone studios of Fox Sports Radio
in Los Angeles.
We'll see.
And we were thinking, were the Titans ever going to lose a game? It seemed like every week they were winning constantly. And, of course, I'm a Trojan fan, so I'm excited to see Lendell White do so well there because obviously when he got drafted, they were making fun of him. They were calling him Len Whale and saying he was a wash-up, but he's definitely not as a wash-up.
Hey, if the
he's not
shoe
a wash-up.
fits or doesn't.
No.
Yeah, if the shoe fits. And the one
That's
thing
a Bruin talking there, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the Third Shift on Fox.
This is ridiculous. It's a radio show.
The Third Shift.
Steve DeSager, who came out of the closet apparently at Fox Sports Radio to tell everybody he was a Charger fan. Ryan Payne and Julio, I'm crying about my Cowboys, Flores.
I've never been in the closet about what teams I like.
You haven't. I knew
or objective either.
No, I'm never objective. It's sports radio. Why be objective?
That's right.
Fox Sports Radio.
Man, they are scary, scary good.
Well, both teams are so great on their defense.
Yeah.
If you're going to want an offensive game, you're not going to see it with the second and third ranked defenses. Basically, the Titans are allowing about 14.6 points a game, and Baltimore is giving up only 15.3 points a game. So we're not going to see much scoring, but we'll see a lot of good defense in this game.
Oh, absolutely. Hainsworth. You got to figure that because the bye week is certainly, I would think, would have helped Albert Hainsworth.
He's definitely key to their defense, and I know he was out with that sprained left knee, but it's good to have him back, missing those final 2 games of the regular season, but back to the playoffs.
And Kyle Vanden Bosch should be back, too.
The Third Shift on Fox.
What do you think in the Eagles-Giants?
The Eagles-Giants, I don't like the Giants because obviously I'm a Cowboy fan, so I'd like the Eagles to be a little bit of a spoiler in that one. I'm just impressed because for them to be 5-1, to see McNabb get benched, and then all of a sudden they come back and do 4 or 5. Obviously, I didn't like them beating the Cowboys, but I got to pick someone, so I'm going to pick the Eagles.
This is the Third Shift on Fox.
This is ridiculous. It's a radio show.
The Third Shift.
The Wild of San Diego won it. I think they're a Cinderella team if they beat Pittsburgh and keep rolling.
Oh, yeah, and they're definitely on the upswing there, Kate. Obviously they played each other on November 16th at Heinz Field. Steelers beating the Chargers 11-10. But one of the bad things the Steelers couldn't do, they couldn't go ahead and convert there in the red zone. They were there 3 times, barely going ahead and picking up the 3 field goals. And Big Ben, we were mentioning him earlier, how
concussion.
Great year last year, has only basically thrown about half the TD passes this year. And then, like you said, the concussion as well. He was cleared on Monday, but, just hearing stories that we talked about, these players that end up getting concussions, it's not a quick recovery sometimes.
The Third Shift on Fox.
And to have the Magic leading by 38 there at the half, I couldn't believe that.
Crazy.
Hito hitting all his threes there. They actually set a season high with 16 three-pointers for the team overall.
877-99 on Fox.
Defense from what I could see.
And 63% shooting for the Suns.
Yeah,
Woo.
to do that all in 27 minutes, I'm just so I've always been a Shaq fan. I was disappointed when obviously he got traded and that kind of stuff, but I'm so happy wherever he goes. I keep following him. And to actually score 40 points there in the third quarter, season high for them, and it's the most points allowed by Dallas in a quarter this whole entire season.
And Shaq from the foul line, 7 of 7 in the game.
We are live
From those AutoZone studios of Fox Sports Radio
In Los Angeles.
Even though the Thunder have been having a pretty bad record, 5-32, Kate, I still am kind of impressed by them. I mean, they've still been losing games by pretty close scores. They had 21 turnovers, though, that thing that really hurt them tonight.
They have more than 5 moral victories this year.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We are live
from those AutoZone studios of Fox Sports Radio
in Los Angeles.
Steve was talking about Big Ben not being that as good this year as he was last year. Last year, he threw for 32 touchdown passes, had 11 interceptions. This year, he's had only 17 TDs and 15 interceptions. And the game you were mentioning, obviously, the Steelers and Chargers, that 11-10 victory at Heinz Field there on November 16. They made it 3 times into the red zone, couldn't convert. Roethlisberger actually had 308 yards passing, was 31 for 41 without a turnover, but yet the offense only had 3 field goals in that game.
Fox Sports Radio.
And certainly Arizona does have some of that going on for them, don't they?
I don't think so, actually. They played pretty poorly at the end of the season. I don't think they have too much momentum.
I mean, off of this last game, I think they have a hell of a lot of momentum.
Definitely off of the last game.
Yeah.
But like you're saying, about momentum with the Eagles game.
Oh, yeah, different story.
They have so much going there because they've won the last 4 out of 5. And the Giants to be losing all those games earlier at the end of the season, great beginning. But I think momentum is a very big part of the game.
Yeah, I think the Panthers win this one, though, no question. I think, there's a lot of areas you might be able to attack them for. Really people looked at the Carolina secondary, and they're gonna have to do what they can against Arizona. They were Arizona was like second in the league with 290-some passing yards a game, and third with 31 touchdowns. But forget all that stat stuff. I think it's the Panthers.
Well, the thing about it, too, I mean, to see the Panthers, how great they've played there at Bank of America Stadium. 9-0, they definitely have their fans behind them. They got that 12th man going on. I definitely picked the Panthers on this one, too. And it's great. I love that Kurt Warner has really helped the Cardinals pick up the pace, like you're saying, with those stats you just mentioned. And I'd love to see them continue to do well. But how much time does Kurt Warner have? This might be it, basically, for him.
We're kicking off your Super Bowl weekend with the third shift on Fox